Ladies and gentlemen, would you please rise for the playing of
the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast.
And here's your host, Jana, and her big brother, Jeff. Well, this last week has just been full of craziness when it comes to Major League Baseball. And honestly, just to pull back the curtain a little bit, we record the show a couple of days before. Some days, like last week, it was Wednesday night. We posted on Thursday, and I do the editing. Just go through, make sure everything's good, add in our little production elements and things like that. Make sure that the prize wheel sound, the wheel is ready to roll, and all that stuff for the Wheel of IL. And as I'm doing that, my phone has just got all these things, and I happen to look, and I had been watching the Angels game on my phone while I was editing, and I noticed that Perry Manassian was on there, and that stopped everything, and I had to watch because he's never on post game. So I had to watch. We'll talk more about what he had to say and what's going on with the Angels once we get to the Angel segment. We have a new Little League World Series champion. So we'll talk about that, and of course we'll see what's happening when the Dodgers and the Red Sox have like a family reunion, along with an update on the wheel and other things. And I think there's a list of guys who have been released from their teams, and we'll probably go through all of that as well. So don't forget, you can find us on Twitter, X, at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
And on Instagram and Facebook at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
And our website is siblingrivalrybb.com. And if you want to get some great gear from any of your favorite teams, regardless of the sport, check out our Fanatics link, and you'll be able to get whatever you want. Or it's getting to be, we're just a few months away from holiday season. You can start looking and seeing about getting, whether it be birthdays or get those early gifts out of the way, Christmas gifts out of the way, so you don't have to bother once you get close to the holiday season. Let's head out to Williamsport. The last time we were talking about the Little League World Series, we were a couple of games away from the finals. Had who was finally going to get in there. We know Asia Pacific was going to end up playing Caribbean. We didn't know Caribbean was going to make it at that point. They had to get past Mexico. We also didn't know who was coming out of the U.S. bracket. The West had to play. They played the Southeast, Stella and the Fellas, and they put them away. And then they had to play the Southwest, which had beat them previously from Needville, Texas, Needville, Texas. And the West was able to put a stop to them, and they ended up facing off with the Caribbean, Curaçao, in the finals, and really an interesting game at the end.
I want to talk about Louis. Is it Lappy? This kid's 12 years old, and he's 6'1".
Is that how tall he is? I knew he was tall, but I didn't realize he was that tall.
He is 6'1".
I'm 6'2". He's almost as tall as I am.
He hit more home runs than any player at this year's Little League World Series. And his fifth one was the icing on the cake. It was the final swing that was needed for El Segundo.
Most of the game, the West had control.
Yes.
When I finally got a chance to look into it, to watch the game, it was already in the fourth inning. I thought it started a little bit later, so it was my fault. But it was, by the time I got to it, it was 4-1. But El Segundo had jumped out to a 2-0 lead in the first inning, and it just seemed like they were controlling it. No issues. They had a 5-1 lead going into the 5th inning when the kid who was pitching, and I don't remember what his name was, but he had hit. I think I don't remember if they took him out because he'd hit his max number of pitches, which is 85,
Mm-hmm.
or what had happened. But they ended up loading the bases. They had one kid who came in and was doing okay, but then he got pulled out because he said he had soreness in his arm.
Oh no.
And he couldn't he just it hurt. So
We're gonna have a little league wheel.
Yeah, right. So he goes out and plays the outfield or whatever, but he's out. Well, the kid that replaced him, something about when that kid got to the mound, I said, this is not going to work out well.
No.
I don't know why. It was just, just had this feeling. And sure enough, Curaçao's one of their better players, Nasir El Oasis or Ases, I'm not sure how you say his last name, comes to plate. Max Baker was the name of the pitcher, and he hits a grand slam. And at that point, tied up.
Yeah, game tied. Craziness is ensuing in Williamsport.
Because now you're going into, they got the bottom of the 5th. At that point, they had they not scored any runs, the game would have been over bottom of the 6th inning or the top of the 6th. Anyway, so it's tied up then 5-5, and the El Segundo doesn't score anything in the bottom of the 5th. Top of the 6th, they hold the Curaçao to no runs, and like you said, first kid up. Launched one. Lewis Lappy takes it, and the minute he hit it, and I was out at a restaurant at that point watching the game on there just conveniently, and the whole area that was watching erupted because that was it. But you knew it was out. He knew it was out.
Yeah,
he did, and the walk-off and gives California and the West the championship. This is the 39th Little League World Series title for the United States. Chinese Taipei has 17. Japan has 11. They're second and third. This is the 24th time California has been in a championship game and now has won 8 times, more than any other team in the U.S. This is the first time since 2011 that a California team has won.
Yeah, and this California team, I think you mentioned it, but what they had to do to get to this game, they won 5 consecutive elimination games. And it's just crazy. This is the most California has the most of any state since the championship began in 1947. And Brody Brooks and Lewis Lappy, they batted .647, the two of them, across California's 7 games. Brooks led all players with 12 hits and tied a Little League World Series record with 13 runs scored. And besides the 5 home runs, Lappy paced all players with 10 RBIs.
Yeah, it was. Now the thing is this the end of his glory?
I don't know. It'd be kind of cool. Last week you talked about Joey Gallo and Bryce Harper being on a Little League team, and both from Las Vegas. Could we see the same pitchers of Brody Brooks and Lewis Lappy together while they're playing in the Little League Classic?
That would be cool.
And how tall will Lewis Lappy be?
7'8". He'll be the tallest man ever Not only to play baseball, but in the world.
In the world, he'll be in the Guinness Book of World Records.
His knees will be where most guys' chests are.
Where is the strike zone?
There is no strike zone for Lappy. Anyway, so that's it. Till next year, we will. They get to be the champions. They had a parade there on Main Street in El Segundo. People were very excited for their team, as well they should be.
Yeah.
And the coach even said, hey, because they're doing all this different stuff they've been invited to do. He goes, well, if the White House invites us, we'll go there too. Yeah, no problem with it.
Yeah, just wherever you want us, we will be there.
We're more than happy to go and celebrate this victory.
And I'm sure those kids are too, because they're probably getting ready to go to school.
No, they went from there directly into school.
Oh yeah,
so school already started. It's not like in the old days where it didn't start till after Labor Day.
Right. Yeah.
They started mid August. So these kids are coming in, but they come back conquering heroes.
Yes.
It's not like the other kids who maybe got beat early on and we're like, oh, you didn't even win. They win it, and we get to live it all over again next year. Last week, I kind of messed up because Angels were supposed to be first. We swap them back and forth. But there was something that we were talking about, and I thought about it, and it just led right into the Dodgers for me. This week, I almost feel like we should do the Dodgers because it might just be easier to do them, get them out of the way. Before we talk about the craziness that is the Angels right now. It is, I don't even know where to begin. Let's go back, right?
Yeah.
So
let's go back.
I mentioned last Wednesday night, getting ready to get last week's episode published or scheduled. And I happened to notice that Perry Manassian was on the post-game show after the game. And I thought, oh, what is he on there for? And, on one side, you're like hoping that he just said, yeah, we just signed Shohei to long-term extension or something like that. But no. He was breaking bad news, which is Wednesday for the Angels.
Every Wednesday.
It doesn't matter what day of the week it is. It's bad news usually. Are
you going to the bad news news conference? Yep, I'll be there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm up for that. So I think we talked about that. Well, we didn't talk about it because that was this week's games, but the Angels had Shohei was pitching versus the Reds. We'll talk about the games in a minute, but he's pitching against the Reds, and like early in the second inning. So I think he'd made it through the first inning. I think he had faced one, maybe two batters in the second inning, and he calls out. Everybody says, "Hey, I got pain in my elbow," and so they go, "Okay." So they do their things. The trainers go out and feel around like they're going to tell. And then he comes out of the game. And we don't really hear anything other than still arm fatigue. Don't really know what else is going on. Okay. Second game, he's out as the designated hitter. So you're kind of thinking, okay, whatever it was, wasn't that big of a deal. No. It was a big deal because Shohei has a tear of the ligament there in his elbow, which, although it has not been decided yet, will probably require a second Tommy John surgery.
Yeah, that pesky UCL. And, he's had arm fatigue for, I don't know, a month.
A month. Yeah.
And, okay, dehydration. He's been doing a lot, pitching more than he's ever pitched.
Right.
But nobody said, hey, get a scan. Now, they, being, Perry Manassian and the Angels, said, well, he didn't want to do it. He didn't want to get one. And that is very, that could be true, because you could see a player saying, I don't want one. I'm just going to keep playing. And then if it happens, then I'll get one.
So Phil Nevin, even, and whether I'm sure that there's truth to this, but whether he's saying something to protect, because at this point, that news only came out because the world was coming down on the Angels. How could you not better protect your investment here, or what you want?
Or no, how can you not protect our unicorn, our player, our Ohtani? He's our Shohei. He's ours. He's a national treasure. And they didn't protect
your show. Him. He's not my show. He's our show.
He's our show. That's right. And so, so the Angels were getting flack.
They were getting a lot of it. So they release. Now, a lot of people are like, well, I'm sure they didn't release this without talking to Shohei and his agent. The word is that they, early on with the finger cramp. Remember the finger cramp?
Right.
That they offered to do the scan after that. Well, Phil Nevin came up later and said, it's not unusual for a player to say, no, I'm feeling good. There doesn't feel like there's anything wrong. There's no need to do it. And that seemed to be the case. And think about it. He was having issues, but still pitching well.
Right. But he's a unicorn.
Right. The Angels said that until that game, that Wednesday game, that was the very first time they'd heard anything about elbow issues. So, that really opened it. Not going to pitch the rest of the year. I wondered if part of his issues were that he's pitching more than he ever had before. And we see that when players, they get through the year, they've never played this many games, they start to slow down. They start to have issues. Can he come back from this? Yeah, probably. There's a lot of conversation. He's going to continue to DH at least for the rest of this season. And he's going to, and then somewhere along the way, we'll find out if he's going to get the second Tommy John surgery. Now, from reading a lot of medical experts, they say if he wants, because apparently after a second one, your odds of recovery or regaining form are much lower than they are after the first one. And a lot of them were saying there's nothing saying he can't make it back. I mean, Manassian even said it numerous. If there's one guy who can overcome all this and regain form, he's the guy. I wouldn't bet against him. But a lot of them, more than one or two, and these are guys who are not directly connected to the Angels, they all say the same thing. And it makes sense to me, is that if he's going to have the second surgery, to have it and set out entirely next year, not just DH only. They're saying that for it to be the recovery to be full on, to help get him back, he should do nothing other than the regular rehab, because swinging the bat still puts pressure, still does, causes movement in there that could cause it to be to not heal at 100%, and he could end up having this issue again, and then that'll be the end of his two-way player status. At that point, he'll then probably start looking at being an outfielder, which he did play in Japan, or a first baseman or something like that. So they can continue to use his bat, but other than being a DH, because he wants to play both sides. So
yeah, that was tough news for not only obviously for Angels fans, but for all baseball fans. It was like everything stopped. Nobody cared about the games that were happening. if their team won, nobody cared. It was all about what can I find out about Shohei.
Yep. Yeah, it really was. It was, and it was that, I've asked many times here, is it the game or is it your team? And I was devastated by the fact that Shohei, for two things, he doesn't get to finish out this historic season and see what he really could do. That's one thing for his case. But the question that I realized was that I'm a fan of Shohei and what he could do. I don't care what team he played for. I would enjoy watching him play baseball. And then it led to the question, if my team that I tend to root for no longer existed, if they contracted baseball down to 28 teams or something, 26 teams, would I stop watching baseball? Would I can't watch it if it's my team's not playing? And I realized the answer is no. If the Angels cease to exist, probably better for the league if them and a few others were no longer part of the league, and we had less teams with more talent on each team, including Shohei. So yeah, I was disappointed in that. You know what? That really took the sting out of getting swept by the Reds, because that's what happened.
Well, nobody remembers, right?
No,
It's like the Red Series. Who remembers that? I don't remember that. What happened?
And in the second game of the doubleheader, the Ellie De La Cruz was over making sure that Shohei actually existed.
That's the best picture. I love it. That was the best.
You can see that on when we announced last week's episode. That was a picture that we used.
So
anyway, they end up like I said, getting swept, and it wasn't like they were close games. They weren't really close games.
Maybe the first one I think was the closest. It was, they lost 4-3, but yeah, that was it. And the first game was postponed. It was supposed to be on Monday, but Hillary took care of that.
Yeah, they didn't. I think we talked about it, that there's no drainage in the outfield in Anaheim. There's a lot of stadiums where they have drainage out there because they're used to this, the rain. We don't have that so much.
No.
So they don't really have to do that. So they needed things to dry out and work around all that. So they did that. Like I said, got the sweep. The Reds, they're fighting for a playoff spot. So the Angels helped them. Now, I did think that the Angels needed a trip. They needed to leave, but they needed to go see a team that really isn't playing well. It's playing worse than they are, you would think. But that doesn't mean anything. When you're playing bad, let's see what happens. So they go to New York to take on the Mets. And yeah, this one actually, it made you feel a little better. By the time Friday night got here, the Angels and the Mets, you see that Shohei, you've gotten a little more, the Shohei news has settled in a little bit more. You've got a little more information about what happened and what's going on. And the Angels come out and win 3-1. Shohei goes 1 for 2, gets walked 3 times in that game. One of those being intentional base on balls.
And the crowd, as usual, because this happens in all parks, they boo their pitcher for their team.
They booed their team, which is, and they were booing Kodai Senga.
I know,
who pitched well overall.
Yeah.
He didn't. What did Kodai went 6 2/3, only gave up 2 runs of the 3. So, he struck out 10, so he didn't have a bad outing. Almost 7 full innings. Sandoval pitched pretty well, only gave up the 1 run over 6 innings. And,
threw 107 pitches.
Right.
That was his most since his career high of 115 on January, July 30th, 2021, when he
What
was in
was
his
he playing?
backyard.
I mean,
But
playing backyard ball down under.
we didn't mention this during that same Red Series. Mike Trout came back. And
Yes, we
then
didn't because he didn't really come back.
he didn't come back. It was in that first game, came back, and then he promptly went back.
So if you, I don't know how many people watch the Angels games or Dodger games or whatever team, but if you were watching that game, think about when you're at work and somebody that you work with has been out sick, or they come in and they're sick. They have a look on their face, that sick face look. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, like they're back, but they're not really back.
Yeah, it's kind of got the bags under their face is sagging.
Their face is sagging. They're able to come back because they haven't had a fever. They haven't, whatever.
But they're still not feeling well.
Right. They're not 100%.
And so when I saw Mike Trout, number one, before I even saw him out there, I knew it was too soon based on what I'd been reading, what he said, what the team said. It wasn't time. But they went ahead and activated him. He came in. The only reason that he got a base hit was misplayed ball by like the third baseman and the shortstop. So by the time the shortstop got the ball, they couldn't get him. So it wasn't like he, had a standard single or, an extra base hit. You just knew something was wrong. And next day or the day after that, he went, actually the next day, that night almost, went back onto the IL for the 10-day. And honestly, I don't expect to see him again. If anything, I mean, I know he's going to want to play, and if he feels good, he'll come back in September. But I'm wondering right now, when we get to some other news, if having him just sit out the rest of the year is not the best option at this point.
Yeah. But I had to mention that because we are in New York now and we forgot about Mike Trout. And
yeah, well,
that's Mike okay Trout, because he's kind of has been forgetful this season.
See, that one I feel a little bad about is because Mike Trout's always, been a solid player there over his career. So forgetting about him coming back for a game and that he's still not quite ready is one thing. If you'd have pulled me back there for Rendon, I would have terminated your connection and finished the show by myself.
Well, that's the thing is, I would never do that. And I don't, and we know Trout is not at the same caliber of IL eliteness.
I think we should just start using. I think we should start using that. He's on the Rendon list.
Oh yeah, the Will of Rendon.
He has been, I think I keep saying it's like he's been paid somewhere in the neighborhood of about $75 million to be on the disabled list or the injured list. I'm sorry. He's $75 million just to be on the injured list. That doesn't, he's the money he's made from actually playing is so much less.
Yeah, it's crazy. And I think that we should start when, like, hey, you're watching a game and you're like, what happened to him? Why isn't he playing? Oh, he's Rendoned.
Right. That's what I was thinking. He's Rendoned. Anyway, so the Angels take the first two games on Saturday. They're able to take a 5-3 lead. They scored all their runs in the first and the second inning. The the second inning was a 4-run inning, and they were able to hold on. Luis Rengifo. Well, it started with Mickey Moniak with a home run. Trey Cabbage had doubled, scored on a single from Rengifo, who, by the way, Rengifo is the MVP right now of this team.
Yeah, I don't think he has been on the IL at all. And a lot of people think that he is made of titanium because he's just doing it all out there, which is not unusual for Rengifo.
No, and it takes him a little bit, it seems like, to get going. But once he's there, the same thing happened last year. As he got
Yeah.
towards the end of the season, he was then able to like pick it up. And, yes, overall, Shohei is still the MVP of the team for all that he's done. But Rengifo has been a solid piece. And,
Oh yeah. I
you know.
think someone that you probably, is he's just there, does his job, he's doing it, he's doing the things that he needs to do, helping his team, kind of the forgotten ball player.
And that's what I kind of like to see. The guys who are just out doing their job. They're not for as much as you like the skill set or you appreciate somebody, let's say like Fernando Tatis Jr. There's times when, his stutter step thing or some of the ways he acts, you don't have to be humble. Reggie Jackson wasn't humble, but Reggie Jackson didn't pull some of the shenanigans that he hit his home run. He ran around the bases, head held high. But anyway.
And I don't think that he ever got ringworm.
No, I don't think so either.
Okay.
And if he did, it was kept quiet. Anyway, so the Angels walk away with a 5-3 win. Shohei with a triple in that game.
Yeah, double, triple.
So, and then we get to the finale. It was the breakfast game. They're on Peacock, and unfortunate because I don't have Peacock anymore. My free trial for a year through my cable company ran out, so I don't have it. So I just checked in on the score.
Yeah, I don't think he missed anything.
No, well, I missed Rengifo's home run.
Yeah.
But that would be pretty much the extent of it. Shohei was 0 for. Drury, who's also been playing solid, 0 for. Grichuk, we'll talk about a little bit more in a second, 1 for 3. Moniak, 1 for 4. But overall, yeah, no, wasn't it? Now, I did mean to mention something from the day before. An oddity happened.
It's an
Vogelbach.
Oh, okay. That's not the oddity. Go ahead.
Daniel Vogelbach hit a home run.
Oh, yeah. Yes, he did.
He doesn't hit a lot of home runs. Mm-mm. You would think he would hit more than he does, but nope. No. I think that's his 12th on the season or something like that. Maybe 17th. No, 12. That was his 12th. So, what was your oddity?
I think my oddity kind of sums up the Angels. Chase Silseth is on the mound in game 2. And who was on, I think Jeff McNeil was on base. Francisco Lindor was on base. And I don't remember who was up at the plate hitting for the Mets. But it's just
when did that happen? That was Saturday. I'm trying to remember. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong game. When did he get hit?
So probably.
Hold on. It was the 4th inning.
Mm-hmm.
2, 3, and 4, and Vogelbach was at the plate.
Okay.
You've got Lindor was on second. McNeil was on first.
Yeah. And then Vogelbach hits ground ball.
Well, no, he didn't do anything. He
didn't do anything. That's right. They were going to do double steal.
They were trying to double steal Lindor.
That's right.
Lindor didn't get the message, I guess, the same because he didn't take off. And at one point, McNeil's almost to second base. Lindor hasn't broke, and they caught him.
That's right.
Problem is, O'Hoppe showed he's a rookie, And instead of throwing to third base and then back to second because they could have gotten one of them, he throws to first base. I don't know what he was thinking. Did he think he could just tag the base and McNeil would be out? No, you'd have to get it second. Well, Trey Cabbage, another rookie, throws across the field to third base to see if they can catch Lindor. And he hits Chase Silseth in the side of the head.
Yeah, and that encapsulates the Angel season right there.
Right. If any team this is going to happen to, the Angels are it. Silseth like runs like 3 or 4 more steps, and then the momentum, I guess, took him, and then he hits the ground. They did get him up and walk him off the field. He was holding the side of his head, took the ball right there. Luckily, it, because they always say if you hit things in the temple just right, it could cause major damage or death, from what I always remember.
Yeah.
And it's like it hit him in that general area. I guess that night he was at the hospital. They released him that night thinking it's okay, but just to give, to steal from the IL, he did end up going on the IL.
Yeah. And I think the whole thing it's just confusing, the whole play, like what the Mets were trying to do, double steal. Lindor was confused. Hoppy was confused. I mean, everyone was confused, and then Silseth gets beamed in the head. That's that.
Right. There wasn't fundamentally clear baseball on either side, and
No.
It goes to show you what the issue is for both teams.
That's true. Yeah. So I guess that really it's not just. I mean, it happened to the Angels. And it does, like I said, I think it kind of summarizes the Angel season. But it also was appropriate that they were playing the Mets when that happened.
Right. Yeah, another hapless team as it is. By the way, Vogelbach ended up flying out after all of that happened.
Well, and I wonder if if he thought, I mean, maybe he just an instinct, you throw to first, thinking that Vogelbach did something, even though
but
he didn't do anything. I don't know.
That's the thing. He should have gone to third base.
Right.
Or even second base.
Mm-hmm.
Throwing to first is obviously what got to this one. Cabbage. Now, Cabbage didn't throw at Silseth. Silseth just happened to be in the way of things. But I think Silseth thought that the ball was going to go to second base. But he wasn't. All that tells me is Hoppy wasn't aware of what was going on.
Right. Yeah. I don't think anybody was aware, obviously.
No, but of anybody that should have known, Hoppy, because he could see it all in front of him.
Right. And he's the catcher. He pretty much, when you're you're kind of the captain of the field.
Right.
You are the captain of the field.
Because you can see everybody out there. You're the only one looking out.
Right.
Everybody else is looking in.
That's right.
So if there's stuff going on and one of the players, the second baseman is paying attention to what's happening in second base and doesn't realize what's going on at third or whatever. But at that point, the other thing is somebody in that infield should have been hollering third base, or something like that. They have a hard time communicating. You see it a lot with the Angels. Anyway, the Angels do win the series. They take 2 of the 3, and heading back to Anaheim after a stop in Philadelphia and Oakland. So they're not getting back home anytime soon. They still have 2 more stops, but they're going to play Philadelphia. And if you remember last year when they played Philadelphia, that was kind of when everything turned around for Philly. They had fired Girardi.
That's right. That's right.
And then they beat the Angels, came from behind to beat the Angels, and they went on their run and ended up in the World Series.
Yeah.
So we'll see if that happens. They're already shooting for a playoff spot. We'll talk more about how things have changed with the wild card and with the standings when we get to around baseball. Now, some news that we got, we already told you that Mike Trout was off for a couple of hours and then right back on. It's like when you get off a restriction when you're a kid and then you immediately go do, and I have personal experience with this. You go out and you do something, you're off restriction for like an hour, hour and a half, and then you do something that lands you right back on restriction.
Right. He had a few hours or an hour of freedom.
I'm surprised that I wasn't like, okay, we're going to give you 30 minutes of free time and then you're back on restriction, but I haven't done anything yet. But you will.
Yeah.
You will. And they were
That's
right.
That's why, Dad, whether, Grandma would have admitted that, she probably would have admitted to it, but, he said every day he woke up, he got a spanking every morning when he woke up because Grandma knew he was going to do something that day. And that way she just took care of it.
Both him and his brother.
Right. And his brother. So it was like, I know you're going to do something. This will be in your future. We'll just do it now.
Isn't that like one of those movies where, they got like the time cop kind of thing where they come back to stop people from committing crimes in the future? That's kind. Grandma was the prototype for that. Right. She was the inspiration. I'm giving you a beating this morning for whatever you're about to do later.
That's right.
They would come back in time and just put you in jail. Like, but I didn't do anything. But you will. But you will.
She was so ahead of her time.
She was. She was a trailblazer for sure. The Angels have decided to make some changes and wholesale changes of that. And it makes a lot of sense because I think they've realized they're not going anywhere. Technically they're not out of it, but we don't know when Trout's coming back. We know that we don't have Shohei on the mound anymore. We don't know how long Silseth may be out now. And so the Angels have gone on and released some players. I was just told before this recording started, I was surprised with this information.
I know. I wish I would have saved it because this is like crazy. When I saw it, I was like, what? So the Angels have released Lucas Giolito and relievers Matt Moore and Ronaldo Lopez and outfielders Hunter Renfroe and Randall Grichuk.
So you figure 3 of those they just got them. They haven't even been Angels a whole month.
Nope.
Renfroe, I'm not really surprised by, but then again, I would have thought, well, maybe because he comes around and, he has his moments up and down.
I think out of the ones that kind of surprise, the one name that does surprise me because he was on the IL, which, that's not unusual, but he's come back and he has looked pretty good as Matt Moore.
Yeah. So I think you used the term salary dump. I think they realize the nice thing that they did here is they released these guys that are decent players. And they released them in such a time that so on the day that you're listening to this for the very first time, this particular episode, if you listen to it right when it comes out on Thursday, these guys will all be available to be claimed. And it gives them time to be claimed by, they hope they're claimed by a team that is in the playoff hunt. Because if you're not on a roster by the 1st of September, then you're not eligible for postseason play.
Yeah. So think about it's going to be quick. I'd like to see, how quick these guys go. If somebody, these playoff teams that we'll talk about in the around baseball, because Friday is September 1st. Right?
It is. Right.
We start a new month tomorrow.
The new month, the final full month
Right.
of
baseball. That's crazy.
I think we're getting to the point where it really is late.
Yeah. Right. How late is late?
Yeah, I think
we got
we can
there.
officially say,
Yeah.
Anyway, so we'll see what they're going to do, but it sounds to me like let's get rid of these folks. Let's start setting up for our off season. Even asking, even getting set to offer Shohei something. And the question is, with Shohei, will there be a deal for like a 1-year deal while he's rehabbing and all that stuff? What's going to happen with that? Ken Rosenthal wrote an article in The Athletic talking about how he's still a $500 million player. And I think he's still worth more. He's still a draw, still brings in a lot of people. And when you can get him back in normal, whatever he's doing, I think that he's definitely going to be worth that in the long run. He's great for baseball.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't think that his value and it has not deteriorated with this news. He's still hitting. He's still out there. So yeah, I mean, Rosenthal is right on point with that one. I don't think it's not like, he's going to be, we can get him for pennies. No, that's not, it's not how it works.
Yeah, I would only say that maybe the first year out, he might take less and either do a 1-year deal or sign a long-term deal and just, but any team that's got him, you got to know there's a potential he might not play next year.
Right.
I think he's going to push himself, but I hope he doesn't, because I'd like to see him come back and be able to finish his whole career as a true two-way player all the way through.
Yeah. And I think that part, knowing the teams, knowing that, there's potential he's not going to be, he would be out for that whole season. I don't think that's not going to deter anybody.
No, bird in the hand, right?
Yep. So after all this Angels talk, all this craziness, is there a player of the week?
No.
Now, I have a player of the week, and it's not that he did, great things, but I just really like his name, Nolan Ryan Shanuel.
Well, yeah, and he was my player of the week. What, 2 episodes ago?
I think something like that. So I'm just going to make him my player of the week because he has a really cool name.
Yeah, I think he set out a couple of games with a stomach bug or something like that.
Yeah. But I mean, in the 4 games that he played, he hit in every game.
Yeah, he's been playing well every game. Not bad for a kid that just got drafted out of college, in mid-July.
40 days ago.
Yeah, something like that. So he's been doing pretty well, and hopefully he's able to maintain that. And then at that point, maybe the Angels will release CJ Cron.
It's time for Dodger baseball.
Well, I forgot about players of the week for the Angels because I think we're kind of at the silver linings portions of that. But what I can tell you is it's hard to not find not just one, but multiple players of the week, usually with the Dodgers. There's just so many things going on, and guys look like they are Hall of Famers some days that you wouldn't expect. There are guys on there that are going to be Hall of Famers no matter what. The Dodgers left the ravine and headed to Cleveland. And, they didn't really look like Hall of Famers in this first game for players of the week.
They did not. It's unfortunate because Bobby Miller was on the mound and had a good outing. I think he's kind of come back to form. He had a little, I don't know, maybe an adjustment period, maybe whatever it was, but he's on the mound. He goes 6 1/3. He does give up 6 hits, 4 runs, but it was Caleb Ferguson who comes in and gives up 3 runs, and the Guardians go on to beat the Dodgers 8-3. So not what Dodger fans were expecting.
Now, I do have to say, Mookie was 2 for 3 with a double and a couple of stolen bases. Will Smith did hit a home run. So the top 3 all contributed somehow. Freddie had a hit and a stolen base. So, and all off of their good friend Noah Syndergaard.
Right. I was just going to say, and he didn't look too bad. I mean, he looked better than any other time that he had pitched for the Dodgers. 6 innings. He went 6 innings, gave up 4 hits and 3 runs. Did give up a home run, but yeah, it's like maybe he likes, being in Cleveland. Maybe there's something to it.
And then they got thumped also via home run by technically a former Dodger.
Yeah,
technically signed to a minor league deal and then traded to Cleveland. Cole Calhoun, former Angel as well, looking kind of like Jim Thome, launches a home run into the right field stands. He is having a renaissance there. He's batting .306 on the season. I haven't looked to see what his total, but I've always liked Cole when he was with the Angels all those years. So
yeah,
he he helped that, and there was a lot of offense for the Guardians in that one. Game 2 stepped up with Xavier Curry and Clayton.
Yeah,
was on the mound. Now, what happened there? Because Clayton, it looks like a bullpen game.
Well, so this game, it's Kershaw Day, and he's only on the mound for 2 innings. The tarp, the grounds crew comes out, and you looked at the sky. It was, there was rain in the forecast.
Forbidding.
It was forbidding. The sky was forbidding. As I looked out over the sky.
You looked over the sky?
I looked out at the sky.
I was going to say, were you in space?
Yes, I was in space.
I was looking from above.
So
Somebody
the ground
has a
crew.
God complex, it sounds like.
No. Now I'm all crazy. I don't know what I'm saying.
Well,
the ground crew.
Let's start
the ground
this.
crew.
The ground crew tried
up.
to be center stage in this in this whole at least the last 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, he's on the mound. Kershaw's on the mound for 2 innings. Then the tarp's put on the field, and it was put on the field 30 minutes before any rain fell. They could have continued to play, but yeah, the ground crew had to have their glory. They're like, look at us. Look how well we roll this tarp out.
And that we're on top of things.
And that we're on top of, before there's a drop, we looked at the sky. They have a God complex, I think, is more like it.
I think so, because they were on it, and thus, because they ended up calling that game, postponing it. They didn't call it.
It was suspended.
It.
Yeah.
That ended up, meaning that Clayton wasn't going to come out and pitch, because it wasn't just like a 20-minute delay. It was a 20-hour delay. And,
they extended into the next day.
They set it up as a doubleheader the next day. So they finish up, and that's why there's only two innings there. The same for Xavier Curry. He only got 2 innings. Even if it was 30 minutes, they may have seen 3, possibly 4 innings out of each of them, but that would have been the end. It would have been a short outing either way, but not because of what either one of them did, but because of what the grounds crew did.
But so the game was suspended, went into the next game. The Dodgers were up 3-1 in this game, so that carries over. Mookie Betts 5 for 5. 5 for 5.
Mm-hmm.
Freddie 3 for 5.
Mm-hmm. They played small ball, no home runs. They end up scoring 6 runs off of 14 hits, and they held the Guardians to just 1 run and 4 hits amongst all of the relievers. It was Gus Varland and Ryan Brazier who gave up the hits.
Yeah. So then, because they had another game, so it kind of becomes the double header in this, and the Dodgers once again.
Let's go back for a second.
All right.
We're in the 9th inning.
Oh yeah, I forgot
And the grounds
that
crew strikes again. And the Dodgers were like, "What? We don't even." They're looking out. There's no rain nearby. It's overcast, sure.
Yes.
And you could see it's coming. They could have finished that game. And then, whatever time when it rained, it didn't rain for a long time, but they could have finished the game. But instead, that put a hold on it and it wasn't a long delay comparatively, but it could have ended up, causing issues for both teams.
Yeah, it really, I mean, Wednesday's rain, it was called after the game was called after an hour and 37 minutes. This one, when they put the tarp on the field, was 72-minute delay. So
right,
72 minutes, and not super long, but it's still long when you're thinking of you got to go in the clubhouse, you got to keep loose, you got to, what's your next plans, and not only that, you're playing another game.
Right, you still have another game to go. They could have let that be, and then taken that time in between games to let it rain or do whatever, because the way it was set was 30 minutes difference because it's a getaway day.
Yeah. We got to get these games in.
Exactly. And the Dodgers needed to get out of there to head east. So they end up, like I said, they won that one, the delayed game, 6-1. Mookie has a career day, and they play the second game, and Mookie's 2 for 3 on that one. So in one day, Mookie's 7 for 8.
It's crazy. Now this is also Kike Hernandez's birthday, and he gives himself a nice little birthday present. He goes 3 for 5, has 2 doubles and a home run, and it's also Kobe Bryant Day. So
right,
everybody, and he wears number 8 now.
8/24.
Right. I mean, before when he was with the Dodgers, he wore number 14, but now he wears 8. And the reason he chose 8 was because of Kobe.
Right.
So,
who's going to be getting his statue in front of whatever they call it now, crypto.com or whatever. I don't know why they haven't called it the Crypt.
Yeah,
that would be fun. But Staples Center, Kobe's going to have a and they're doing it in February. So it's 2/8/24.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Very
and you know what the 2 is for, right?
No.
That was Gianna's number.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Number 2. So by doing it February,
they 8th, get everybody.
They get all 3 numbers in there.
Yes. I like it.
And she is reflected in that statue as well, from
That's
what
right.
I understand.
Yeah,
we haven't seen it yet. It's a closely guarded secret. Anyway, Dodgers, like I said, won 9-3 in the nightcap or the afternoon cap. The we'll call it the non grounds crew impeded game.
Yeah, and Ryan Pepio is back now. This also is it's kind of it's a bullpen game, but it's Caleb Ferguson starts. He pitches an inning. Ryan Yarbrough goes 3 innings, and then Ryan Pepio comes in and goes 4. And it doesn't look too bad. It has 6 strikeouts. Yeah, home run. Gives up 3 hits, so and a run, and then Evan Phillips, of course.
I'm wondering, did they just want to get Yarbrough some work at that point? Because the last time that Pepio pitched, Ferguson pitched the first inning, and then Pepio picked it up in the second.
Right. I think so. I mean, maybe they wanted. I don't know how long it had been since Yarbrough had pitched, so he hadn't pitched at all in this particular
So yeah, maybe they just
and
wanted to get him in and get some work. And
yeah,
I'll tell you this: since the trade deadline, we were all disappointed. The Dodgers pitching has been overall pretty good. We knew that the offense was there. I mean, just let's we look to Boston, the homecoming for. Honestly, there were quite a few guys that was either coming back to Boston after playing there. We know Mookie hadn't been back to Boston to play since he was traded.
mm-hmm.
This, of course, is the first time Kike's been back, but that hasn't been that long. And then, of
Right.
course, all the Dodgers, Alex Verdugo, former Dodger, was traded for Mookie.
Right.
And so, he's there.
JT,
JT is there.
Kinley,
Kinley.
Chris Martin,
Chris Martin. Exactly.
Ryan Brazier.
Ryan
who
Brazier. Yep.
Yep. Now, one guy who didn't make the trip, he's in Arizona because he's on the IL and he's working it out. JD Martinez would have been
Right.
another one.
Yep.
So,
And they were showing.
Doc Roberts.
Yeah. And he found his name on the door in the scoreboard board, that you sign your name first time you
Yes.
go out there. But he hadn't found it ever before. He found it this time
Yeah.
that he went. Anyway, here it is. They're in Boston. Didn't really make any difference that they were in Boston. Freddie Freeman took over for Mookie. Mookie did all the damage in Cleveland. Freddie went 4 for 5 and a double. Once again, small ball. They did not hit a home run in their first game out against the Sox. They walk away with a 7-4 win.
Yeah.
They were down 3-0 early in the game, but in the sixth and seventh, they scored 6 runs and then one more in the ninth to walk away that. And that was even with 2 errors.
Yeah, the 2 errors. And then Lance Lynn is on the hill. He does give up 2 home runs, which we haven't seen lately, but he did give up 2 home runs. One of them was right off the bat to Alex Verdugo, who the guys in the Red Sox clubhouse were giving him a lot of grief. Like, they didn't want you. They don't like you. And he kind of took that to heart, I think. And he kind of has a little bit of an attitude anyway. He's been disciplined twice.
Yeah.
So he was excited that he got that first home run. And but yeah, Lance Lynn on the mound, 6 innings, does give up 10 hits, but and the 4 runs. Bruce Starr, Alex Vesia, and Evan Phillips comes in, don't give up any runs, and Evan gets his 20th save of the season.
You know what I wonder? I wonder if the Red Sox starter, what his favorite pitch is. His name is Cutter Crawford.
Right. And I think, so his name is Cutter, spelled with the K. I think that's intentional because the K, strike.
Out. Yeah, I think, and his favorite pitch is the changeup.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's the case. I'm just making that up. Anyway, so they're able to walk away with the first game victory. They head to game number 2, where they actually hop out. Actually, they don't hop out to a lead. They score a run in the first inning, another one in the 4th, but they allow the Red Sox to do the same. So going into the 5th inning, it's all tied up 2-2. Julio is on the mound for the Dodgers. And then they scored 2 more in the 5th inning. But that's kind of where the wheels came off of their bus.
Yeah, the Dodgers, well, we'll go back. Alex Verdugo, would just mention him because he became the first player in Red Sox history and the 3rd major leaguer overall to hit a leadoff homer in the first inning in 3 straight games.
Wow.
So that's got to mention that. And Julio, who has looked really good, gives up 3 home runs in this game. And Adam Duvall hit a 3-run homer over the Green Monster. And I think that pretty much sealed it.
JT hit his home run
right
on the Monster.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, so overall, they were doing well. It didn't look bad, but then it just kind of fell apart on them. The Red Sox grab a victory.
So Max Muncy was up to bat. He gets ejected along with Dave Roberts.
Yes.
So I think, that's the wheels just, they were all ready. The screws were the oils were wobbly. Then this happens, and just it wasn't a
he
good.
Was upset
wasn't a good outing.
with good reason, as far as that the pitch was not a strike. However, he should know better. And so he starts arguing about it and rolling his eyes at the ump and everything. The ump tosses him, and then here comes Doc, and
he tried to be reasonable. And Muncy did hit. It is his birthday, and he did hit a 2-run home run to break the tie. But after that, it wasn't pretty.
He was up five times in the game. He didn't get tossed out till late in the game, because Michael Busch never got a chance to bat.
No.
And he's the one that came in for him. So that honestly, that's the only win for Boston in this series. The Sunday game, the Dodgers come back out and said, okay, we let you have one. Mookie came out and went 3 for 5 and hit a home run. 2 doubles, historical doubles for Freddie Freeman, who also went 3 for 5. A home run by James Outman. And they walk away with a 7-4 victory.
Yeah, bookends, because Friday's game was 7-4, Sunday's game was 7-4. Gavin Stone on the mound, I was concerned about that one because he has not looked that great. But he gets his first career victory. Caleb Ferguson once again on the mound for an inning, but Stone pitches 6 innings, gives up 5 hits, the 4 runs. He does give up 2 home runs, but there was something different about him. 3 home runs, sorry. There was something different about him, just, maybe the way he handled himself. Because before he looked always really nervous and very sweaty, and he didn't have that. He had more composure this time around.
He did.
Evan Phillips gets his 21st save. Ryan Brazier again out there pitching against his former team that he won a World Series with. So.
Yep. So overall, another great series for them. They keep winning the series, keeps them going. As of Sunday, the Dodgers are 80-49. They're leading. They've got a 12-game lead on the Diamondbacks, 13.5 on San Francisco. So at this point, provided there's not a collapse, they continue to win series. They're going to, maintain their position, second to Atlanta, it looks like, going into the playoffs. Dodgers are now heading home after that, and they're going to be playing the Diamondbacks. And then a 4-game series over the weekend versus the before mentioned Braves.
Yeah, that's going to be a good series. And I think one that's, the Braves are how many more games have they won than the Dodgers?
They're like 4 more wins than the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So as of the weekend, they're 84-45.
Yeah. So that's important series because you're looking at records and where you fall in the playoffs.
Right. Because it's 4 games, if the Dodgers were able to sweep the series, they would put themselves in a position to be the number 1 seed for home field. Of course, they have to finish out the season strong. But if they were able to do that, even then, if they can gain a little bit of ground and just keep it up and hope that the Braves have a breakdown, or maybe because the Braves could, looking at where everybody's at, Philly's behind them about 12 and a half games. After that, it's Miami, and they're 19 games out. As we keep getting closer to, into September and that, the Dodgers right now, I think as of the weekend, their magic number's around 21. Playing like the Diamondbacks, that helps. They beat the Diamondbacks. Their magic number will go down by 2 each time, as long as the D-backs are in second place. At this point, I don't see anybody overtaking them for the second buy spot.
Yeah, I don't either. I want to mention too about Mookie Betts going back to Boston. He said he was a little nervous and kind of had, was kind of feeling tingly. His friend, Freddie Freeman, was there to help him through because he had gone through it, a little bit. But, Mookie was so many years removed, for Freddie, it was more, when that happened, it was still open. Year. Yeah. And it was an open wound. It hadn't healed yet. But Mookie said, he loved being there. He appreciated the Red Sox and their organization, but he loves where he's at.
Yeah, he did make that a point more than once throughout the week. Even before they went there, every time he got asked, it's like, hey, that was a great time in my life, but I wouldn't trade this time for anything.
Yeah.
And he definitely, when you look at Mookie, sometimes you get players from other teams. It doesn't feel like they're fully a member of your team. And then some guys come in and they become, and Mookie and Freddie too, have become like Dodgers. And what's interesting is that Mookie's been playing so well, people are forgetting about Freddie in the MVP race and thinking that it's just the two. Acuna and Mookie, but Freddie, and I think the reason is that Freddie just plays his position. He punches in, he punches out, but he's not showy.
No.
Mookie's not showy either, but Mookie plays more than one position. There's just a lot going on there that people want to push that more. And I think, you've got to stop and think too about Freddie as that he's not out of this race either. He's batting better than Mookie and Acuna. He's got a better batting average overall. So I think it's going to be a tough race between those three.
Oh yeah, definitely. And this is going to be a good series against the Braves for the sole fact that you're going to have those three players all on the field.
Right.
So yeah, it'll be fun. I hope it's more fun on the Dodger Blue side. All right, player of the week. I don't know who else you can go with.
I
tried. I did. I looked. I tried, and I had to go. With Mookie Betts.
Yeah, I think Mookie, because overall, as good of a week as Freddie had, Mookie had a better week.
Yeah, I really did look at anyone other than Mookie and Freddie. I tried, but it didn't work this time.
All right, we're hopping in the bullpen cart, take a ride around baseball. And as always, we'll start it off with the players of the week, MLB style. And it looks like we may have influenced MLB on the NL player of the week.
Yes, it was all us. No one else, just us. This is interesting, though. We have the American League player of the week, the National League player of the week. Both of these players played against each other over the weekend. And let's start with the American League player of the week. Adam Duvall went 14 for 29. He had a 483 batting average, 1.689 OPS in his 7 starts. And he had 5 home runs, 12 RBIs. He also had 5 doubles. He got on multiple times in the 6 of 7 appearances. He had 3 straight games where he had home runs against the Astros. That's always good. Home runs against the Asterisks is great. And then he had 2 more against the Dodgers. And this also, I always say this, but this also marks the second time that Duvall has won the American League Player of the Week this season. The last time was back in April, which seems so far away.
Yes, long ago.
And National
Land
League
far
Player,
away.
yes, National League Player of the Week, Mookie Betts.
Mm-hmm.
16 for 26, home run, 4 doubles, 7 RBIs, 9 runs, 2 stolen bases, 615 average. His OPS was 1.540, even though he only hit the 1 home run. But as you mentioned, Dodgers played a lot of small ball in these series. He is leading the league with a 1.018 OPS. He's batting 315, 35 home runs, 93 RBIs, 10 stolen bases. And those are your players of the week.
Awesome. All right. We've been talking about, changes around baseball. We got a couple guys we just heard about being maybe released. So we'll get to them in a second. But the saga of the White Sox, it's been a long season. We talked about it last week. They fired their VP of baseball operations and the GM. Now what?
It keeps going. I didn't realize, and I guess I should have known this, but hold on. Is it Jerry? It's Jerry Reinsdorf. Okay. I didn't realize this, but Jerry Reinsdorf also owns the Chicago Bulls.
Yes.
So, and he's 87 years old, just so you know. But now we're hearing that he is rumored to be thinking about moving the team or selling the team or both. Now, this seems really early to start thinking about this, but the lease at Guaranteed Rate Field is going to be up here in like 6 years. And so he's already thinking about maybe moving the White Sox. Now, it doesn't sound like he's going to move them that far. It sounds like they would stay in Chicago. They would just play somewhere else. But as one fan said, what's the White Sox without the South Side, and vice versa?
Right. And they've played there forever. I mean, the Comiskey Park, the old Comiskey Park, right across the street from where the new stadium sits.
Yeah. Right.
So it's not as if they moved there from someplace else in Chicago. There was a thought about Nashville, to which prompted Nashville, officials to say, no, they haven't come and talked to us about that.
No, we don't know anything about that.
From what I understand, they really wouldn't want that. They want a expansion club, I think, more than having, somebody else's club.
Right.
They want something they could build on their own.
So now Chicago has, this possibility. And like I said, this is in the future. But the White Sox possibly moving to somewhere else, in the Chicago land. But also the Chicago Bears could be moving. Now their lease is up at Soldier Field in 10 years, but these are still things that people are bringing up. And so not only do you have just turmoil in the clubhouse, what's going on the field with the White Sox, fans are concerned they're going to leave the South Side. So we'll see. Now the other, you go ahead.
He did say that the reason that he's bringing it up now is that this is the time to start talking about those things.
Right.
Because otherwise you hang around, you wait, and then it gets late. There's no chance to get to build a new stadium or to get a new deal, things like that, and then you're stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's true.
so I don't doubt him with that. I just wonder what his motivation is now. I would say, and I said it before, sell the team.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, he already owns the Bulls. Just let somebody else have a baseball team. You have a basketball team. Now, the other thing this is crazy. There was a shooting at the Friday night game, which last a week ago, White Sox game, when they were playing the A's. And at the time, there were 2 women that were injured, and they thought that the gun went out outside of the stadium, but now the police are very confident that it went inside. It went off inside the stadium, and they're looking outside for bullet casings. They're looking at everything. Now it has come out that one of the women snuck the gun into the stadium in the folds of her belly fat.
Wow.
And that it accidentally discharged. And so there was a woman who was hit in the thigh, I believe, and then she had this woman who where the accidental discharge grazed her abdomen. The bullet grazed her abdomen.
Well,
That's just weird.
It was in her
belly fat.
Right.
That's just crazy. And why do you need, and apparently they were both teachers at like a conference or something, and they were going to a baseball game. So why did the teacher feel like she needed a gun at the baseball game, and that she concealed it in her belly fat? And is this something that she does on a regular basis? Is it in the classroom? What is the deal? I gotta know. This is so weird that
So
it would
you're
even
an
happen.
inquiry kind of mind. You need to know.
I do.
What happened? You know what I wonder is, I had heard that too, but I didn't know what their situation was.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she thought, I don't know where she's from, but maybe she thought that she's always heard the South Side of Chicago is the baddest part of town. I say that
all
when
the
we're talking
time
about it, but I say it because of Jim Croce, not because of that. Now, I've been to the South Side of Chicago, and there's some scary areas down there, but I've been in scary areas in LA and New York. I went to Newark, New Jersey, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places, and there's places that aren't even big metropolises that are kind of scary.
That is true.
So I'm wondering, now that you say that, the thought that pops in my head is that she's from someplace. She goes, we're going to this game. I've heard it's a dangerous place. I'm going to make sure I have protection.
Right. And I have to go through security. I can't just put it in, my purse. Where can I hide it? My belly fat.
My belly fat. And that, now you got to start wondering, what does it take for, you would have thought that'd be something that they could, you would have think that that would have been something that they could get, that they would find.
Right.
But apparently, maybe it's the density of, I don't know how big. I'm assuming she was pretty big to have flaps like that. Then it's too dense for the metal detector to read through it, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. There has to be more to this story, and we will continue to talk about it if there's more. Yeah, we'll have breaking news. It's just so crazy. It's just bizarre. That's, and
How bizarre.
and that it happened, at a White Sox game.
Right. Yeah. That a Braves game, maybe. White Sox, I just I'm kind of surprised by that. Texas,
Texas, yeah, why not?
yeah. So
But I think
anyway.
in Texas you don't have to hide it. You don't have to hide
No,
it.
you have open carry there. Yeah, but I don't think you can bring it into the stadium.
No, you shouldn't.
So
I don't think.
speaking of Texas, craziness all season long. Where have they been?
Number one, they've been on
Right.
top, looking down.
Now they are tied with Houston for number 2.
Yeah, it's the worst nightmare come true.
The Seattle Mariners are playing like we thought the Seattle Mariners would play. And it's all thanks to Julio Rodriguez. And we talked about what he had done last week, that he had more hits over a 4-game streak than the Yankees did over the same 4-game streak or period. Apparently, and I wish I could find it. I misplaced where I got the stat, but he's done something recently that hadn't been done since
1925.
Now you're 25 years too late. 1900.
Oh man.
Everybody is breaking those 100+ year old things this year, thanks to Shohei. But every time you read something, this hasn't happened since 1856,
Yeah.
But it's like, it's crazy how this is, but he has just been, we kind of thought maybe he fell off from his rookie of the year, and he did have a tough beginning, but he has turned it on. And right now they look like they're going to get the bye. Will they be able to make it through? Will they be? I think if Seattle makes it to the World Series and they're not playing the Dodgers, I will root for the Mariners because they've never been there.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Seattle's going to get past Baltimore.
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one.
And Baltimore is my pick. Baltimore. So when we look at everything, that's been the biggest change. Houston's been playing great. Texas not playing great. Atlanta's been doing the same. Philly has been maintaining. Miami's fallen off. The Mets overtook the Nats for last place in the East.
Whoa. What?
I know. It's crazy. And remember at the beginning of the season with the National League, we pretty much figured it'll be the way the Diamondbacks were playing in the wild card. It would be the Diamondbacks would probably win the West if they kept it up.
Mm-hmm.
The Dodgers would be a wild card. Out of the East, you would have had obviously Atlanta and maybe another team from the East. Or you'd have the Giants, and you'd have 3 teams out of the West. And with the Central right now, there's 1 team from each division. But just as of Sunday, Philly, Chicago, and the D-backs are all the wild cards. But there for a little bit, it was Philly, Chicago, and Cincinnati.
Right. Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the Central was taking over the wild card. Now it's evenly matched. The Cubs are in there, like I said, the Phillies and Arizona, and the Giants are only a game and a half back, plus the Reds as well, just a game and a half back. Be interesting to see what happens, because this week the Reds and the Giants will be facing off. So one of them is going to maybe gain some ground. The other one is going to be out of luck.
Yep.
And then when we look at the AL wild card, you know what? Exactly the same thing happened, where the teams that we thought there for a while, we thought it would be 1 team from the West, 1 team from the Central, and 3 teams in the wild card from the East. And now it's only Tampa Bay in the wild card from the East, Texas and Houston. And if Texas doesn't pick it up, they're going to be out. Toronto's 2.5 games back, Boston 4.5 games back, and then it's the Angels at 10.5 games back. And we know the Angels have pretty much written off their season. So it's going to be fun to watch how that all comes down. And especially with the AL West and what's going to happen with Texas and Houston as they battle for second place, maybe, or will Seattle kind of fall off to the side at some point and just end up as a wild card team as opposed to winning. They're only a game up on the Rangers and the Asterix. Speaking of teams that had been doing well, were over 500, but have dropped lately. The Yankees, and one of the guys that we kind of believed would not make it through, and then for a minute there was some rumors that he was going to continue on. Josh Donaldson has officially been released
from the Yankees. He also joins Harrison Bader, who, they got from the Cardinals, was it last season? Yes. And he has been released. Noah Syndergaard has been released by the Guardians. Now, I wonder, he was traded from the Dodgers to the Guardians. He was pitching better, it seemed like, with the Guardians, and then he got released. I was wondering, was that part of the trade deal? Let him pitch, let him get some zen, and then release him.
Maybe. I don't know. That, to me, it's like if he's pitching well for you and you're still trying to make it, they're 6 games back of Minnesota. So chances are they're not going to win the Central. But in the wild card, they're back 11.5 games. So they're kind of fading at this point. And if they can't, be winning more series than losing, then it's going to be, tough for them. We're seeing a lot of players getting released in time so that they can be picked up by somebody else, which is nice that they're doing that. I think the teams now are getting to that point just as they're getting to the beginning of September and realizing we're just playing out the string. And if we're going to win, we're going to win with what we have.
Yeah, no, I think so. You also had Tucker Barnhart, who was released by the Cubs, and Jerickson Profar was released by the Rockies. I mean, he used to be a drag. He probably at one point felt on top of the world, plays for the Rockies, and they release him.
Yeah, how did that make you feel that your team's in last place, not a very good team?
No.
And you're like, I got released from these guys. There's got to be other guys on here,
There's got to be somebody else.
Once again, he has a chance. And when he was playing with the Dregs, he actually I hated seeing him come up because he would all of a sudden, get a hit out of nowhere or make a good play.
Yeah, he's not a bad player, but it's just you get released by the Rockies. Now Trey Mancini had been released by the Cubs, and he has been signed to a minor league contract with the Reds. And the Giants are signing Paul DeJong to a major league contract. So he was recently designated for assignment by the Blue Jays, and the Giants picked him up.
After the trade that they made for him.
Yeah.
So they did. Those are the trades that just didn't work out, and now, that's the issue. So
now, one guy who I think this is long overdue, Steven Strasburg. He is planning to retire. There's going to be a news conference coming up here probably in the next week and a half. He had signed a huge contract, 7-year, $245 million contract prior to the 2020 season. But he hasn't pitched since then. And, it's not, like I said, it's not really surprising in the 4 years in almost 4 years that the contract's been signed. He has only thrown 31 and a third total innings. He's had thoracic outlet syndrome, and he had surgery for that. And he's just continued to have injury issues. And so, yeah, this is probably a good move on his part, just go out. He was, won a World Series, was MVP of that World Series. So
I think that his career was issues were caused by the Nationals. They handled him with such kid gloves that he never got a point that he worked up his arm, built everything up. So the slightest thing, he was very fragile. It felt like.
Yeah, that's true. He's always on the. It was always on the IL. Something was going on. So this is a good move, probably for him and his family. Just retire. It's time.
Well, that's one thing that him retiring will guarantee, that he won't spend another day on the wheel. I wonder what it's going to be like when he's not busy.
He won't know what to do with himself. Tony Gonsolin, we had mentioned last week, was placed on the 15-day IL. We have since learned that he is having Tommy John surgery tomorrow, and they said he had a forearm soreness. It has now come out that he had a scan done in June, and it did reveal a UCL tear at that point, but he was advised by the I guess he's kind of the team doctor, and I don't that
Is
he
that
could
El
keep.
Atrache?
Yes, Dr. El Atrache. He could keep pitching through it. He saw this. He wanted to help. Dave Roberts said the same thing. The rotation was in shambles. Tony wanted to go out, keep pitching what he could do. He wanted to keep going, but as we have seen over the season, he just never had good stuff. And his arm, it just kept getting worse. So no timetable on his return. Usually he's going to be out for the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Because he's going to have the, he's having the surgery. So
right.
He's not going to be, he won't even be back next season.
Right. And I think when I say out for the season, I think that's what I meant, like next season. Like this season's over. He's
done this season, and next season is already over for him too.
Yeah. Felix Bautista of the Orioles is on the 15-day IL with a UCL injury. Don't know the extent of that injury. Don't know anything about if he is going to have surgery. That has not been released, but we'll keep an eye on that. We mentioned Mike Trout is back on the IL. Chase Seth has been placed on the 7-day concussion protocol list. Starling Marte is on the 10-day IL with a groin injury. Yu Darvish is on the 15-day IL with right elbow inflammation. Bo Bichette is on the 10-day IL with a right quadriceps injury. And Matt Chapman, this is my favorite one of this week. Matt Chapman's on the 10-day IL with a right middle finger sprain.
How does that happen?
I don't know. He was flipping it too much.
Maybe so. That could be it.
So I did find a list of pitchers who have had Tommy John surgery this season. And just in the MLB, there are others that are, in the minors, some college that are also on this list. 22 pitchers this season have had surgery this year in 2023. So,
wow.
22.
So how much of that do you think is how they trained them? Do you think that the pitch clock had anything to do with it? Because even in college, they have pitch clock,
Yeah.
timer. So, what's your thoughts on that?
I really do think that the pitch clock, we're seeing more injuries to pitchers, more pitchers on the IL. Nathan Eovaldi is a good one. To just bring up, he's still on the IL. Bruce Bochy thought that he would be off soon. He had the same thing. And then he started pitching, started doing rehab, and had pain in his side. So I don't know if that's an oblique injury. They didn't say. They just said he had a pain in his side. Jacob deGrom has had Tommy John surgery. Shane McClanahan, second, yeah.
See, there's a lot of conversation about watching deGrom and how he recovers from his second one as related to Shohei.
Right. Yeah. I mean, just on the Dodgers, you have Dustin May, who is also, he's had his Tommy John surgery, his second Tommy John surgery within a very short period of time. But I really do think that there is something to say about the pitch clock. I think it makes pitchers pitch differently. And the other thing that I have been doing some research, the new pitch, the sweeper, seems to be an elbow killer.
That doesn't surprise me.
And so you see more pitchers using that pitch, and more injuries we're seeing pop up. So yeah, I think the pitch clock, definitely, you don't have that time. And it's seconds. It's not like you have a lot of time on the mound, but in between pitches, you're going to have, now it's like, okay, we got to get set. We got to engage. Hitter needs to be engaged with the pitcher and vice versa. And it's just boom, boom, boom. It makes the game go, quicker, but to what extent, of injuries for these players. And in particular, the pitchers.
Right. I did hear the other day that we finally had a game with no violations.
Oh.
I'll have to look that up and see which game it was. But I did hear that no violations, pitcher or batter.
Now, I mean, I don't know. There's been talk about the pitch clock in the playoffs and maybe putting, more time on the pitch clock. And I'm like, well, if that's the case, then do we need the pitch clock in the playoffs? But they will still, the pitch clock is here to stay. I mean, I don't think it's going to go anywhere.
No.
But will it be modified, I guess, is the question. And is that something that MLB will look at when they're looking at these players, and especially a player, the caliber player of Shohei Ohtani, who is the face of MLB worldwide? Will that, make them kind of take a step back and look at, to have a conversation about the pitch clock?
Right. But they have to admit that there was something wrong.
Right. And that's the problem, is the admitting part.
Right. So they're going to maintain that there was nothing wrong on their end and continue on. So hopefully they get to it, realize what's going on. That will help maybe them adjust the rules to make it so that it's having so many players. Faster games is fine. And if you don't care about the game as much, you like going to games, but it doesn't matter who's playing. But when you have so many players that are out on the injured list, especially pitchers, and it can be traced back to that, then you need to do something. You run through all your best players because of these things. And that'll do it for this edition of the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. Find us online, siblingrivalrybb.com. Check out our Fanatics link, and you can get any team's gear, even some golfers. I think they've even got like Formula One drivers or maybe NASCAR drivers. I don't know.
I think they got everything.
Just about.
U.S. Open.
Yep, you can get all that stuff. All right there on the Fanatics link. You help the show out. We really appreciate that. Make sure you're telling your friends about the show. Get everybody listening. Like I said, you can tell the telemarketer, tell a stranger on the street, even serial killers. Just tell whoever you can about our podcast. You'll find us on Twitter at Sibling Rivalry BB without the A.
And on Instagram and Facebook at Sibling Rivalry BB with the A.
And until next week, when we'll see more where things are going for the Dodgers. What happens now with all of the changes the Angels just made? Will they completely fall apart, or will this be like one of those things where they make these big changes and all of a sudden they get inspired?
They could get inspired. And what happens to all of those players who don't have a team right now? Where do they shake out?
So we will take a look at all of that and more on the next episode of the Sibling Rivalry Baseball Podcast. You have a great week, and don't forget to swing away.